Good morning. Happy Friday. We made it to the end of the week. The weekend is ahead. The weekend is upon us. We've got some dry hours. As you can see, we had some passing showers and storms earlier today, but we're finally seeing some slight drizzle passing through a couple counties. Looks like North Coleman County, yeah. And we're going to continue to see mostly dry conditions, except for those folks there for the next hour or so. But rain chances do return later on this afternoon. So let's go ahead and look outside. Athens, it's a little overcast out the door. Still that bright overcast though. So it's not gloomy all the way. It's not dark, but we still have some sunshine peeking through. It's just a little bit of that grayness continuing for most of the day ahead. And we'll continue to see drier conditions for another hour or two. So that'll be the name of the game for most of your morning, but the afternoon brings those rain chances. Max wants. There we go. Okay, maybe I was too far to the right. Temperatures right now, rather warm still. Lots of us are in those low and 80s for the morning. Some folks, Scottsboro and Moulton, still hanging around those upper 70s. So they did see a decent amount of rain in both of those counties. So that's kind of keeping them on that cooler end for the moment, but we'll start to warm up throughout the day. Folks will hit 90 to 92. And some of these areas that are going to be seeing a good deal of rain for the day will get some rain cooled air. So that's not going to be cool feeling like a breeze. It's just kind of less warm than the rest of the folks in the surrounding area. We'll see. So some of these areas will probably stay in the 88, 89 range if they don't tap out to 90 today. It's going to be hot and sticky from now into Tuesday. So let's go ahead and get that cemented as you make your plans this weekend. Keep that in mind. It's also going to be much warmer. We're already seeing heat index values around the low end hundreds, 101, 102 for today. But moving into this weekend starts to get a little warmer with our temperatures going up to about 95 or so. See, just under 100 looks like. It's been kind of changing back and forth. I feel like the cloud cover that we're seeing is keeping us just a degree under our estimated forecasted temperatures, but still hot nonetheless, right? At 99, some folks could teeter over to 100. And like I mentioned for our weekend, 95 will be the high. The expectation is that we could see a good deal of dryness, some possible humidity, a little on the sticky side, not as oppressive as we've seen, but the feel-like temperatures will be around 105 for some folks. Some areas could be right at our heat criteria. And like I mentioned yesterday, there's certain degree numbers, and by us having both Alabama counties and some Tennessee counties involved in our DMA, some of the time we have Tennessee counties that are on the, I would say, the more sensitive end of the threshold, that when they get to a lower number, that for Alabama, we're well above it. But in Tennessee, if they get to a certain number that's on our lower end of the threshold, they'll sit there for 2 hours, and that causes that heat advisory. So even though we'll see those heat advisories kind of differ between the two areas, it just means that the criteria for that specific grouping is a little higher or a little lower than the other criteria in the area. So keep that in mind. Some folks in the central Alabama area are already anticipating heat advisories. I believe they've put those out for tomorrow. I wonder if they put them out for today, though, like this afternoon. I'll have to go and look at that again, but they've already put those out for the weekend for sure. Seeing as those temperatures, once again, 95 is the expected temperature for North Alabama, so you can only imagine what it's going to be like in the central and south parts of Alabama. It's going to be like around 97, 98. Yikes. But nonetheless, those feel-like temperatures, brutal indeed. So if you have weekend plans, make sure you build in some time for breaks in the shade, or maybe even if you are starting, I know some folks are getting back into school, and the extracurricular activities will begin sometime soon. I don't imagine anyone has early morning practices just yet, but even still, If you're going out for a morning run, a morning walk, and maybe your athlete's doing a little training, whatever it is that you plan to do on your Saturday and Sunday, make sure you're hydrated, you got some sunscreen, something to protect your skin, and also giving yourself some breaks in the shade, because we could see some warmer conditions than what we've seen from earlier this week. It's just hot all around, so it's kind of hard to differ, how hot it's going to be, other than telling you the feel like temperatures are going to break 100. And that's about as much of the difference between the 2 days. So again, think about that as you go through your plans for the weekend. Looking at our hour by hour, we're in those dry periods of the day. Like we saw on our radar earlier, we had a passing shower just through, looks like Coleman County for the most part, and maybe part of south part of Morgan County too. But we'll see some dry conditions, and you'll notice the breeze doesn't do much. It's about 3 miles per hour. That's just enough to say there's a breeze, if even. But we start to pick up those rain chances in the east. A lot of our eastern folks will start to take a bit of a turn back into those upper 80s, and they'll kind of sit there for a moment or two. And we'll see the next following hours, closer to 4 or 5 o'clock. That's when we can expect to see the heaviest of the downpours for the day. They start to roll in around that time, so expect your afternoon and evening commute to be a little on the wet side, especially if you're on the western side of the communities, especially around Fort Payne, Winchester. Scottsboro looks like they'll kind of get some rain here and there, spottier once you get closer to Jackson County, but some folks in the west as well. We'll see a shower or two, but you can take a look at the different colors. I want you to look at the top right, and we'll see kind of a good deal of the green and the rain-cooled air in there. And then you look at the west, and around Moulton, you can definitely see some intense red right in there. So we'll see those rain chances move through. Will kind of cool us off just a tad, but even still, it's really going to just hold us where we've got our temperatures at. So 5 p.m., expect a wet commute. We start to see a little less of heavy downpours, but they become a little more scattered as well for some folks. We could hear rumbles of thunder with this as well, just with daytime heating. We just start to see a build-in with those showers and storms, and we'll continue to wait out that heat process, because by the time we get to 8 and 9 o'clock at night, once we get less heat in the atmosphere, starts to kind of taper off our rain chances. And that's kind of what happened yesterday. Our rain chances were thwarted by the daytime heating kind of moving out of the area a little quicker than anticipated with the rain chances. So this weekend, again, 95 is expected, partly cloudy for both days. We could see some snatches of sunshine every now and again, but it's going to be hot, like I mentioned. That's just kind of the word of the week, really. Hot, balmy, scorching. Not exactly scorching, but just below that, maybe steaming. Yeah, there you go. So keep that in mind. Again, try and find some time in the shade this weekend. So, yes, who said everybody in the pool? Yes, Quint, for sure, for sure. 'Tis the season. Exactly. It is August. That's what we deal with at this time. Ooh, yeah. Lemonade, root beer, frozen Coke. Frozen Cokes are so good. Ugh, does McDonald's still do, I think it was McDonald's or Burger King, one of them did like a frozen Coke situation a couple years ago. You used to be able to get ices. Yeah, that would hit right about now. Fresh honeydew melon. Sounds good. Yeah, okay. Quint's just making me hungry this morning. And good morning, Miss Donna. How is your day? I hope everything's good in Phil Campbell. You guys will see some decent rain chance this afternoon. Keep that in mind for your day as well. Humidity, it's going to be on the sticky side, which is good because we thought we'd see oppressive humidity, which I don't like oppressive, miserable, and awful. I try and stay on the other end. I wish we could get to amazing. But I feel like if we had no humidity with this heat, I'd be a little concerned. Just a little, because that's kind of expected with heat, especially in the south. Just kind of as expected. I'd be a little worried. But looking at our weekend ahead, dry as a bone. We don't have many rain chances to note. Some folks could see a stray shower going into Saturday due to just the pop-up showers that we're seeing from Friday. There's a possibility of that, but not enough for us to note it here on our 10-day forecast. 95, 96 all the way through Tuesday. Wednesday is the next possible chance for rain. That's going to cool us off a good deal. You'll see that we go from 95 to 89 and 84 on Friday. We could have a possible false fall on our hands. False fall part 2. Yeah, it's our second one. The deal here, though, what we're kind of waiting on is to see, yes, the rain-cooled air will move in. We do have that cold front coming through. However, it really depends on if it's going to weaken when it makes it to us. That's what's kind of keeping our temperatures on the warmer front. But there is an opportunity that around maybe Friday, some folks could struggle to get to 80, just because we have cloud cover, we have showers, rain chances. It'll do the same thing it did Wednesday and Thursday. We saw a good deal of those rain chances kind of force us under that 90-degree mark that we were forecasting to hit. And that's the interesting part about forecasting. You can look at your models and forecast ahead, but it's ever changing. You know, you can have 92 one day, and then due to the cloud cover or the amount of rain that you anticipate to see the day of, you'll notice it's kind of struggling to stay at 90. And it just all kind of depends on the atmosphere. It's always changing. But the thing is, with the forecast though, we try and make sure this is as accurate as it's going to get. We look through these numbers, the amount of rain we're expected to get, the cloud cover. We go through them, I believe, at least 4 times a day. Our forecast is there's an opportunity for it to change multiple times a day. And 9 times out of 10, it's very rare. Like last night with Thursday, that was kind of an opportunity that we forecasted one idea of rain, and what ended up happening was that daytime heating cooled much cooler than we thought. Kind of kept our showers at bay, and they weakened as they got to the Alabama state line because we were expecting some of those heavier showers and storms to come from Mississippi. It weakened by the time it got to us. And that's something that kind of happens quite often. When I was in Savannah, something that we would see happen often there is that by the time we would have storms that would come from here in Alabama, so we would be tracking, say if we had much more severe storms at the moment, we could see that move through Georgia, and by the time it would get to the coast, it would weaken, or things would ebb, flow, change, because there's sea breeze to think about when you're on the coast. So there's a lot of variables that go into weather that can kind of switch some things around a little bit. But we always try and make sure that our temperatures stay the same, and we won't fall very far beyond our forecasted numbers. Today, some folks will be around 90. There are some areas, like I mentioned, 1 or 2 areas that'll be in those upper 80s because they're going to see a good deal of that rain kind of parked over the eastern portion of our communities. And that's our expectation. But when we have drier conditions like Saturday through Tuesday, those temperatures tend to hold and stay pretty stable. Wednesday, we could see a cool down a little sooner. And just depending on the timing of rain for Wednesday, that could kind of change the outlook for that day as far as 95. Some folks could be at 92. And are these large changes in feeling? Not really, because 92 still has the propensity to feel like 95, you know, because, I mean, we're at 92 today, and it feels like 95, 95 to 99 in some places. So give or take a couple degrees with that feel like, but rain chances also often give us that opportunity that we can reach out and say, hey, this area has rain parked over it. It's going to be tough for you to reach the high that everybody else is seeing for the day. So keep that in mind as we go into next week with some of those cooler temperatures. It could cool us off a bit more than we are anticipating. And we're still in the early portion of that forecasting. Some of the time, like I mentioned, it could be cooler, and there's other times that these numbers here will be just fine. But to blanket statement, most of that, it's going to be a little chilly. in comparison to what we're seeing. So you'll walk out probably Thursday and be like, hot yesterday. It's a little cooler. You're not going to feel like freezing cold, of course, but you'll notice the change. In Savannah, we would kind of keep humidity around, and it would make it a little hard for us to feel the change in the temperatures because you still feel like it's 90 something. But with rain chances here in North Alabama, you definitely feel a bit of the difference. So even though sometimes it feels like a pressure cooker, you feel like a steamed bag of vegetables. I'm hungry, and I blame Quint. Quint definitely mentioned some food that made me hungry. So, the chances for Phil Campbell getting rain today. So the chances because you guys are so far west, there's low end chances, but they will be sporadic showers. I would say out of the entire western community, you guys would have the greater chance for rain. Now, will it live up to about 30%? Not exactly. You guys could possibly be 20%. They're going to be passing showers. And from what I can remember in my mind, the passing showers will be kind of later in the afternoon and then be over and done with closer to 6. So maybe 3 to 6. Well, these are all sporadic showers that just kind of pass through. But for my eastern folks, east of I-65, because once again, we're kind of divided here, those rain chances will continue to kind of come and go throughout the day. So you'll see scattered showers, isolated storms, but rain chances will be in and out for the afternoon and evening. So, of course, as I always say, keep that umbrella on standby, because with scattered showers and isolated storms, it becomes hard to pinpoint exactly. We can give you time frames, but because they're so sporadic, and you can look at a radar and you can see the places that are not going to see as much rain and the places that'll see tons of it, in reference to 30% who gets the most out of that. It's kind of a challenge to really pinpoint a specific area unless you go in there and we do, we comb through and go through there. So that's why when we say isolated and scattered, we can give you words are hard this morning. I worked the morning shift, so it's been a morning. So we can give you a general placing of it. But if we say Morgan County is going to get rain, not all of Morgan County is going to get rain with those scattered showers and isolated chances. That just means a good portion of it is in Morgan County. But if you live in a different part of Morgan County that doesn't get rain, that's what we mean by scattered, Just kind of across the board. Sorry, I have a caffeine break. Drinking my Coke for the morning. But I hope that helps out a little bit, Miss Donna. You're welcome. I'm glad. Well, I've got TVL starting in a couple minutes, so you guys can join me, meet me over there. It's going to be a good time today. We're previewing a lot of our football teams and looking ahead to 48 Blitz starts next week. Exciting time. So I hope you guys will tune into that. I'm hearing, and you didn't hear this from me, but I'm hearing there's some fun games. There's some teams. Carl and Peyton are going to go head-to-head in a challenge. So I've been hearing. So it'll be a lot of fun. But I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. If you're unable to tune in, I hope you will tune in to the Fastcast at 3 o'clock. We have our evening shows as well. So, and stay dry out there. Scattered showers, stay dry. And also stay hydrated because the weekend's going to get crazy and be very warm. So, all that being said, enjoy your Friday and enjoy your weekend. I'll be here tomorrow afternoon and evening. So I will see you then. Bye.